Hi, you're watching Mental Math Secrets, your secret weapon for success. And I have a question for you. Can you multiply 42 times 11 in your head? Keep watching to find out how. Multiplying by 11s is quite easy. So anytime you're multiplying a double-digit number times 11, do the following thing. Take the two digits of the other number that you're multiplying by, so in this case 42, and we're going to add these numbers together. The 4 and the 2 is going to give us 6. So these two numbers added together give us 6, and then all we do is sandwich this 6 in between the 4 and the 2 from our number, and this is the answer, and you can come up with that almost immediately. Now, continuing our practice, what if we had 31 times 11? 31 times 11. So what we do is the same thing before. We take these two numbers, we add them together. 3 plus 1 is going to give us 4. And then we take the number that we found and we sandwich it in between there. So what we're going to get is 3 from here, sandwich the 4 in that we just got, and then put a 1 at the end, 341. And that's the answer. And you can certainly do this in your head. Now what if we had 63 times 11? So again, this is going to give you 9. 6 plus 3 is 9, so you just sandwich it in between there. So you're going to get 6, 9, 3. And that's the answer. You add these two together, that gives you the 9. You sandwich it in between your digits. What if you had 72 times 11? 7 plus 2 again is 9. So we take the first digit here, we put the 9 that we get from adding these together in the middle, and then we keep our last digit 2, 792. Now what if we have a different number like 38 times 11? So we proceed the same way initially. 3 plus 8 is going to give us 11. 3 plus 8 is 11. And so let's go ahead and just try to see what would happen if we do that the same way. We'll take a 3, we'll sandwich in our 11 right here, and we'll sandwich our 11 in between the 3 and the 8. Well, obviously this number is too big. There's no way that 38 times 11 is going to be over 3,000. So this is wrong. But we're on the right track. What we end up doing is we keep the second digit, and this first digit here, let me rewrite it, 3118. What you're doing in your head is this, there's too many digits here, so you sort of take these two digits here and you add them together. It's sort of like carrying the 1. So 3 plus 1 is 4, 1, 8, and that is the answer. And you can also think about that if you want to just think mentally about what you're doing. When you add these together, you're getting 11. So you go ahead and write it with the second digit, 318, and you're carrying this one over to the next column, so you're going to get 418. And that's just a different way to think about it. Now, what if you had 88 times 11? Well, when you add these together, 8 plus 8 is 16. So you would think that if you're following the same technique, you would put the 8, 1, 6, 8. But that's too many digits. When you have two digits in the middle like that, that's too big. So all you do is you take the first two and you add them together. 8 plus 1 is 9. You keep the 68, 968. And that's the answer. What if you had 49 times 11? Well, 4 plus 9 is 13. And if you were doing it the same way, then you would have 4139. But that's too many digits. So you just add the 4 plus the 1, giving you 539. 539. Now you might be wondering, can I do the same technique for larger numbers? Let's look at 127 times 11. It would take you quite a long time to multiply this by hand the traditional way. Let's see what we get. Well, we obviously have 3 digits. You don't add them all together. What you do first is you add these two together, the first two digits, right? So 2 plus 1 gives me 3. And then you separately add the second two digits. 2 plus 7 gives you 9. And then you sandwich these digits between the first and the last digit. So what you're going to get is 1 from the front, 3, 9, 7. So you add these two to get 3, you add these two to get 9, you sandwich 3 and 9 in between the first and last digit of your problem. Okay, now what if you have 342 times 11? You have the same thing. We'll add the first two guys. 3 plus 4 is going to give me 7. 4 plus 2 is going to give me 6. And so to find the answer, I sandwich these guys between the first and last digit. 3, 7, 6, 2. And this would take you quite a long time to do by hand. Okay, now we're going to have a quick drill to practice what we have learned. If we're going a little bit too fast, don't hesitate to pause the video and work it out either on paper or in your head. This type of thing just takes practice. Like anything else, you have to practice it. So you work these, get a sheet of paper, grab a calculator, practice, practice. Before you know it, you'll be doing this in your head in your sleep. First problem, let's say we have 17 times 11. What would that equal? 17 times 11. Okay, so the answer to that would be 187. Because 1 plus 7 gives us 8, we sandwich that in between the 1 and the 7. What about 25 times 11? What would that equal? Your time starts now. All right, 2 plus 5 is 7, so we just sandwich that between the 2 and the 5, 275. Problem number 3. What about 39 times 11? Your time starts now. All right, now this problem is a little bit weird because we have the 3 and the 9. We add them together and we get 12. So we have 12. We have too many digits to wedge in between here. So we have 12. We're going to end up carrying that leading 1. 3 plus that leading 1 is going to give me 4. And then the 2 from the 12, and then the 9. Just like we learned, 429. Because we can't put 12 in between here. So we try to do it. We end up adding the 1 with the 3, giving us 4. 4, 2 from the 12, 9. 429. What about 69 times 11? Your time starts now. Okay, so 6 plus 9 is 15. So 15, we can't put 15, we can't put 2 digits in here. So we're going to end up adding that leading 1 with 6 to give us 7. The 5 from the 15 stays there, and then the 9, 759. So again, 6 plus 9 is 15. The 5 stays in the middle. The 1 gets added with this to give us 7, 759, 759. What about bigger number, 534 times 11. 534 times 11. Your time starts now. All right, now we have a 3-digit number. So the first thing we do is 5 plus 3 is going to give us the 8, and 3 plus 4 is going to give us the 7. And nothing is too big to wedge in there like that, and no one have any 2-digit answers. So we keep the leading digit 5. 5 plus 3 gives us the 8. 3 plus 4 gives us the 7, and we keep the last digit, which is a 4. 5, 8, 7, 4. 5 plus 3 gives us the 8. 3 plus 4 gives us the 7. We sandwich it all between 5 and 4. Final problem. What if we have 815 times 11? Your time starts now. Okay, and to do this one, we add the first 2 digits. That gives us 9. So we're going to keep the 8 in the front. 8 plus 1 gives us 9. We add the last 2. 1 plus 5 gives us the 6. And then we keep the last digit of 5. And that is the final answer, 8965. So that concludes this lesson on how to multiply by 11s. It's a really useful thing to know. It's very good for you to know and use on your exams and your tests. Follow these tips that you've learned in today's lesson and also in the future lessons that follow to get an edge in school, workplace, and an edge in life.
Learn anything at mathandscience.com.
If you're at a restaurant, can you calculate a 15% tip on a bill for $30 and do it in your head? Keep watching to find out how. So what we're going to do now is start with the easiest thing to do, and that's to calculate 10% tip. So don't forget what a percentage is. Basically, when you're applying a percentage and multiplying it by something, what you're really doing is multiplying the number by 0.1. And we forget that a lot of times because there's a percent button on the calculator, but you're really multiplying by 0.1. So if you have a bill, let's say you're in a restaurant and your bill is $17, and you want to calculate 10% of that. So you want to do a 10% tip. You want to end up putting down there as the tip. then all you do for 10%, it's the easiest percentage to calculate. You know that 17 is here, and there's a decimal point right behind the 7 because there's no more digits there, so there's a decimal point. To multiply by 10%, you just move the decimal one spot to the left. So the tip in this case would just simply be 1.70, and you have to add a 0 there because we want to do dollars and cents, so it's $1.70. All we did was take the implied decimal point and move it one spot to the left. That's all you do when you multiply by 10%. If your bill at the table there for lunch is $26, let's say, then if you were going to do a 10% bill of that, you're doing this all in your head. You're not actually doing any multiplication. You know that all you need to do is move that decimal one spot to the left. And so that's $2.60. So that's the tip that you would add. So if you're at a restaurant on a day when the service is kind of poor, maybe it's middle of the road, but not exceptional, then this is the easiest way to calculate the tip. Now, what if you have a bill that's like $39.60? So it's not an exact even number of dollars and cents. If I were going to do a 10% tip on that, it works exactly the same way. The decimal point is here. I just move it one spot to the left. So I put a dollar sign. That's going to be $3.96. I moved it here, so it's $3.96. The trailing 0 just disappears because when we're talking about money, you don't need to put a bunch of zeros at the end. So you would add $3.96 to your tip. And finally, let's say that your bill is, just one more example, $44.95. I'm going to let you do this in your head. Go ahead and take a few seconds. Your time starts now. Now this one's a little interesting, and the reason is because if you just take this decimal and move it to the left, you're going to get $4.495. And this is a weird looking number when you're talking about money because we always have 2 digits after the decimal. We don't want 3 or 4 digits, so basically you round up here. So if I were going to put this on a check, I would just round it up to $4.50. Let's say you're in a restaurant, they're doing a really fantastic job taking care of you. You want to show them that you appreciate it. You want to give them a 20% tip. How do you do that? Well, it's very easy. All you do is you take the 10% tip, so you calculate 10%, which we already know how to do now, and then you double it. So we know how to calculate 10%. It's very easy to do. And then you just mentally double it, which is like multiplying by 2. And if the numbers are easy to double, then you just do that. And if they're harder, like if there's a lot of cents in there, then you just kind of estimate a little bit, but you end up trying to get as close to doubling it as you can. So let's take an example. Let's say the bill is, let's say the bill's $10. It's a cheap lunch. Bill is $10. So what am I going to do? If I want to do a 20% tip, first I need to calculate 10%. So if I'm going to calculate 10%, it's going to be $1, shifting the decimal. Doubling that, it's going to be $2. And that's the answer. That's 20% tip. What if I'm calculating a tip on $15 and I'm doing a 20% tip? Well, I take the 10% tip, which is moving the decimal this way, 1.5, $1.50, and I double that. Doubling $1.50 is going to give me $3. That's a $3 tip. That's 20%. Now, what if I have a bill that's $22 and I want to do 20% tip? Well, first I calculate 10%, so I move the decimal. 10% is $2.20, 2.2, $2.20. If I double that, it's going to be $4.40. $4.40. And finally, what if I had a bill of $53 and I wanted to do a 20% tip? Well, again, I take the 10% tip, so I move the decimal point this way. That's $5.30, and I double it. If I double $5.30, it's going to be $10.60. Doubling 5 gives us 10. Doubling 30 cents gives us 60 cents. So $10.60 for that 20% tip. All right, now finally what we want to do is calculate a real-world situation where we really want to give them middle-of-the-road average tip of 15%. And so let me just recap for a minute. For 10% tip, we know how to calculate that. We move the decimal. If we are calculating a 20% tip, basically 20% tip is equal to taking 10% tip and then adding another 10%. So basically we doubled it. That's what we did before. We took 10%, we doubled it. That's to get us 20%. So a 15% tip is going to be taking that base 10% and we're going to add to it 5%. So instead of doubling our 10%, what we're going to do is take the 10%, cut it in half. That's going to give us 5%, and we're going to add those two things together. So what I'm teaching you here in the interim is also a good way to calculate 5% of something is to take 10%, cut it in half. So let's do that. Let's say we have a bill of $20. And how do I do that? To calculate 15%. Well, first we calculate 10%. And 10% of this is $2. And I just taught you how to do that. You move the decimal place here. What would 5% be? If I take 10%, that's $2. 5% is $1. Because I just take it and I cut it in half. So this is a great way for you to know how to calculate 5% of something. You just take 10%, you cut it in half. So in order to find what I really want to know is 15%, then all I do is take 2 plus 1. The $2 plus the $1. So the final tip is going to be $3 for a 15% tip on $20. What if we have $30? This is what we opened up the lesson in. $30, and we want to calculate 15%. Well, first we got to calculate 10%. Move it here. 10% is $3. Doing all this in our head here. And 5%, again, doing it in our head here. Take this, cut it in half. You get $1.50. Just dividing that by 2. So that's 10%, that's 5%. And so the 15% tip is just going to be adding these together. 3 plus $1.50. We'll write it down here, $4.50. And so you can do it in your head. You do this, you say $3, cut it in half, $1.50, add it together, $4.50. All right, now what if you had a bill of $46 and you wanted to calculate a 15% tip? So first, we take a 10% tip. What's that going to equal quickly in your head? $4.60. Just move the decimal. That gives us $4.60. Now quickly in your head, what is 5% of this guy right here? Well, we take 10%. We cut it in half. What are we going to get? Cut this in half. We'll have $2.30. Cut this in half to get this. Cut this in half to get this. We'll have $2.30. So ultimately, 15% tip is going to be $4.60, $2.30. Add them together. We will get $6.90. Just adding them together. So you can do this in your head. $4.60, cut it in half, $2.30, add it together, $6.90. And even if you can't quite do it all in your head yet because your skills aren't there yet, you can kind of round these numbers up or down and get pretty darn close in your head. So let's look at that right now. Let's look at $160 tip, very large tip, very large bill. To calculate 15%, let's take 10% first, and that's going to equal, moving the decimal point one spot quickly, that's $16. We're doing that in our head. And what about 5%? What if we wanted to calculate 5%? We take the 16, cut it in half. It's going to give us $8. And so at the end of the day, we calculate the 15% tip as 16 plus 8, and 16 plus 8 is $24. $24. So this is an exact number, but what if your bill was, $162.13? Well, you could certainly do it, but you can round down to 160 or round up a little bit and do this in your head and get the right answer.
Learn anything at mathandscience.com.
Hello, do you know the most important secret to mental addition? Keep watching to find out what it is. Today we're going to learn the most important secret to being able to do mental addition and subtraction. And it's something that every one of you already knows, but we're going to practice it here so that you get really good at it and so that we can use it. And that is knowing your complements. And we're not talking about, oh, you look great today. We're talking about the mathematical complements. What a complement is something that you already know, but we're going to drill it in here, and we're going to get so comfortable with them that they'll be on the tip of our tongue, and you're going to use it over and over again as you do mental math in your head. The complement of the number 1 is just the number 9. And so the complement of the number 2, as another example, is the number 8. So you can see from the pattern here, a mathematical complement in the context of what we're talking about is just the number that, so if the complement of 1 would be the other number, so that when you add these two numbers together, you get 10. So another example is if we're looking at the number 2, the complement of the number 2 to give us 10 would be the number 8. And what you're going to find out as you start juggling these numbers in your head is that knowing spontaneously what it's going to add together with to give you 10 is going to give you a huge advantage. And so, like I say, everyone knows that the complement of 3 really is 7 because you know that 3 plus 7 is 10. But what we need to do is get really fast at it. The complement of the number 4 is, for instance, the number 6. The complement of the number 5 is 5. The complement of the number 6 is 4. The complement of the number 7 is 3. The complement of the number 8 is 2. The complement of the number 9 is 1. And of course, the complement of the number 10 is 0, and we don't really care about that because it's already 10. So what you're going to find is that as you start looking at long columns of numbers, you're going to be looking for sort of pairs of numbers that add to 10 because it's going to make your mental addition a lot easier and faster. So look at this list, say them to yourself a few times, play this part of the video again if you have to, and do more than just know these facts. Everyone knows that 6 plus 4 is 10, but what you need to do is when you look at the number 6, you need to immediately in your head think of the number 4. And the way I think of it is these are almost like two puzzle pieces. The number 6 and the number 4, they fit together perfectly to make that nice round number 10. The number 3 and the number 7, they fit together perfectly like a puzzle to make the nice round number 10. Think of it like that. It's going to make your life easier. So what we're going to do now is really do a quick little drill to practice our complements. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to write a number up here on the board, and you're going to yell out its complement as fast as you can. And you're going to play this part of the video as many times as you can and as many times as it takes for you to really feel that you understand these complements and that you can just yell out the complement immediately without having to really think, okay, what plus 6 is going to be equal to 10? I want you to be able to yell it out. And so that's what we're going to do here. It's going to help you tremendously. The complement of the number 6 is 4. The complement of the number 3 is, you can do it, number 7. The complement of the number 4 is, that's right, 6. Complement of the number 2 is, you got it, 8. Complement of the number 9 is, obviously it's 1. Complement of the number 7 is 3. The complement of the number 1 is 9. The complement of the number 5 is, obviously, 5. The complement of the number 8 is 2. Now, you may think this exercise is silly. You may think that it's something that everyone knows, but let me tell you, every step on a journey to getting good at something begins with practice and begins with really getting a good foundation. If you understand these complements, and if you can not only understand them, I know you understand them, but if you can get to the point where they're just naturally fall out of your mouth when you see them, then when you look at a long list of numbers, you're going to be able to put them together and add them together in a way that's going to make it much easier for you, and we'll get to those in subsequent sections. So play this part of the video again if you need to. Really get to the point where you can yell out your complements. Okay, now we're going to practice a little bit what we've learned a minute ago with complements and getting good at it, and we're going to continue practicing here, but we're going to twist it a little bit. What I'm going to do now is write a number down, and you're going to yell out as fast as you can how far away from the number 20 is the number. So you're really doing a little bit of mental subtraction here, but trust me, when you get into doing long column addition with multiple digits, it's going to help you tremendously to have this kind of practice. So we're going to practice it here. The number 16, how far away is that from 20? Well, that's 4. And obviously you know that, but what we're really doing is we're looking, okay, we already got 10 in the bag, so we're looking really at 6 here. The complement of 6 is 4, and that's going to give us our 20. So you see you've sort of done a mental addition here as we're going along, but these little complements here are going to help us tremendously. What about the number 12? How far away is that from 20? And that's 8. Obviously you can do the subtraction, but you just realize that 8 and 2 are complements, so that's the natural answer. What about the number 14? How far away from 20 is that? Of course, that's going to be 6, because 6 and 4 are complements. What about 17? Yell it out as fast as you can. Well, the number 3, because 3 and 7 are complements. What about the number 11? Well, that's going to be 9, because 1 and 9 are complements. And you can do this with any number you want, 20, 30, 40. So now let's do the same thing again, but let's go ahead and practice and yell out as fast as we can how far away the number that we're going to write down is from the number 40. What about the number 31? Well, that's 9 away from the number 40 because 1 and 9 again are complements. What about the number 36? Well, that's 4 units away from the number 40. How did we know? Because 6 and 4 are complements. What about the number 32? Well, that's 8 units away from the number 40 because 2 and 8 are complements. What about the number 34? Yell it out as fast as you can. Number 6, it's 6 units away from the number 40 because 6 and 4 are complements. Again, these are things that everyone listening to this already knows. But what you need to do is practice and get as fast as you can at it so that the numbers, you're not really doing any subtraction in your head. You're just recognizing that these are complements. You're throwing them out as fast as you can because when we do our long column addition, we're going to be using this tremendously. Now, we've just recently looked to figure out quickly in our head how far away something was from 20, how far away something was from 40. You could practice this as you're laying in bed at night, how far away something is from 50 and 60 and 70 and so on, and get really good at it, and that's going to tremendously help you. What we're going to do here is try to find out how far away a number is from 100. And believe it or not, if you can do this quickly, it's going to tremendously help your addition skills and especially your subtraction skills, and we'll see that a little bit later. But first, let's take an example. What about the number 37? If I asked you how far away this number was from the number 100, most people would write 100 down. They would put 37 below it. They would subtract them. They would get the number. They would eventually get the right answer. But there's a faster way. And when you're doing mental arithmetic, really it comes down to efficiency and speed. So if there's a quick way that you can do something, then you really need to take it. Let me write down the answer and show you why it's faster to do it this way. The answer to this is 63. Because 37 and 63 give you 100. So how do we do that quickly without actually writing this stuff down and doing the subtraction? If you're given a number and you want to know what its complement is to give you 100, then the quickest way to do that is in this column. Notice that these two digits right here sum to 10. 7 plus 3 is 10, so they sum to 10. The leading two digits right here, these do not sum to 10. They sum to 9. And that's always going to be true for any two-digit number that you want to find the complement for, which you can almost think of these as puzzle pieces. 37 and 63, they fit nicely because together they give you 100. And you will see later that that's going to tremendously speed up your mental arithmetic when we start looking at real addition and subtraction problems. So if I gave you the number 45 and I said, quickly, tell me how far away that is from 100. Again, most people would really have to think for a second, but all you need to do is look. Okay, in the leading column, go left to right. Again, don't work in the right-hand column. Go left to right. For the left digit column, you're just trying to sum to 9, so I'm going to put a 5 there. In the right-hand column, I'm just trying to sum to 10, so I'm going to put a 5 there. And this is the answer. That's the complement. What if I were going to have the number 76? And I said, what is the complement of that? Go ahead and try it for yourself really quickly. What we're going to do is in the leading column, I'm just trying to sum to 9. So I'm going to put a 2 here. And in the right-hand column, I'm just trying to sum to 10. So I'm going to put a 4 here, and that's it. I don't have to really do any subtraction. I don't have to scratch my head trying to borrow or carry digits or anything like that. I'm just looking to see what fits as that puzzle piece. What about the number 57? What's the complement of 57? Quickly. Well, that's going to be 43, because in the leading digit, I just look to sum to 9, and then the trailing digit, I just sum to 10. Okay, what about the number 17? Quickly, give me the complement to give me 100. Well, in the leading digit, I'm just trying to sum to 9, so I'm going to put an 8. In the trailing digit, I'm just trying to sum to 10, so I'm going to put a 3, 83. That's the answer. That's the complement. These two fit together like that nice puzzle piece. What about 66? Quickly, give me the sum to 100. What number am I going to need to add to that? Well, in the leading digit, I'm just going to put a 3 because I'm summing to 9. And in the trailing digit, I'm going to put a 4 because I'm summing to 10. That's the complement. Finally, let's look at one final one, 81. Give me the complement of that guy to give me 100. Well, in the leading column, I'm just trying to sum to 9, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And in the trailing column, I'm trying to sum to 10, so I'm going to put a 9 there. So 19 is the answer. That's a pretty incredible thing to be able to do quickly in your head, because addition and subtraction problems, a lot of times you're trying to do borrowing and things in your head. You're going to see how this is going to help you. Also, all money is in base 10. You know, $1 is 100 cents. There's plenty of different opportunities that you're going to find as we go through these lessons where figuring out in your head quickly how far away something is from 100 is going to be really, really nice to do. And this is the easiest way to do it in your head. Now, the final thing I'll say is this little trick, if you want to call it a trick, it only works for these numbers that are not multiples of 10. So if I give you the number 60 and I ask you what do you need to add to that to give you 100, you're going to know the answer is 40, but that doesn't follow this little rule here. This plus this gives you 0. It doesn't follow the nice rule that we have here. If I give you 20, then the nice complement of that guy you should already know is 80 because 2 and 8 are complements. But it doesn't follow the little thing I'm telling you here with the first column and the second column. So for the nice multiples of 10, you're going to use your knowledge of regular complements to give you the answer. For any other number, I can throw out anything. I could throw out, 51. Well, I could say the complement of that's going to be 49. Because this sums to 9 and this sums to 10. So that's going to be it. I'm Jason with MathTutorDVD.com. I hope you've learned something here. Knowing your complements, and not only just knowing them from a textbook point of view, but knowing them on the tip of your tongue and getting really comfortable with them is going to help you tremendously when we start adding columns of numbers, which we're going to do in the very next section. And we're going to give you the tools to build the skills that you need to succeed.
Learn anything at mathandscience.com.